Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Happy Monday to you guys. How you guys doing today? How's everything going? Guys, I hope all is going well and you're doing good. And these messages are helping you. We all need some good news. We all need encouragement. We all need to keep moving forward because we're living in some crazy times right now, you know? Um, and we just have to stay focused, disciplined, and keep moving forward, not to allow these things to discourage us. Also, if you can, diminish your time watching the news because there's rarely anything there that's positive. And if you want to keep your energy and vibe high, do so by minimizing that. Find time for yourself, for laughter, and to just keep enjoying your life instead of existing or living in fear. Never allow yourself to live in fear because of the uncertainties that we see in this world today. Surround yourself with uplifting people who love you, care about you, and who want to see you do good. That's so important, guys. And don't worry about the other stuff. Those things that you put to the side that no longer serve you for your highest good, it all works itself out sooner or later. So trust God, trust the process, and keep moving forward. With that being said, guys, keep in mind that I'm not a therapist, social worker, or a counselor. I'm just a person who've gone through, I can't even count, endless amount of pain and suffering and you know, craziness. And, um, you know, I learned lessons from it. So, and I come on here and I talk about how I get or got through those things. I'm still healing, but it wasn't as bad as it is. It's not as bad as it was back then. But I talk about these experiences because something that I might say and how I overcame these problems and situations might help you with your own situation. It might resonate with you. So please keep tuning in, subscribe to the channel, and invite others here because we talk. I talk about all different matters, but it's all related to grief and healing. Um, with that being said, the topic of discussion today is healing and honoring vows to God. So, some people may have asked me, well, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And how are you still growing, healing, and evolving? Well, one of the things when I was at my lowest point and I asked God to help me is that I made vows to God. And keep in mind, I made vows that I could keep, right? Not vows that I know I can't keep. So I made some vows to God that I know that I can keep. And so because of that, and that I honor those vows weekly, God has been going 2 and 3 and 4 extra steps on my behalf. And I see it over and over again. I had something over the weekend that I had to deal with on a business matter, and I'll tell you a little bit, but not too much. It's about paying a bill I wanted to delay because it came around the same time as another bill. And yeah. And the old version of myself would say, just leave this alone, whatever. But something in my head kept saying, call them, call them. And no matter what I was doing, because I was trying to avoid it, guys, doing other stuff, talking to people on the phone, going about my daily business, and it kept getting louder. Call them, call them, call them, right? And so finally I gave in and I called them. And to my surprise, I mean, a miracle happened. This doesn't happen. They actually just took, how do I say this? They took the money off the bill. They couldn't change the date because that's what I wanted. Change it to a later date instead of, the date that I pay it. And they took money off of it, and it was a substantial amount. And then I thanked them. It's like miracles from God are happening. These are things that they don't do. And I know it's coming directly from the hand of God because I'm honoring these vows. So that's how I'm doing these things. And other good things that are happening is because I am honoring these vows to God. And one of the vows that I made to him is to show up on his channel. Now, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I can't be here because of work or some other responsibility. But for the most part, I'm consistent with this. And that's a vow, and it's important to keep the vows that you make to God. I don't play about that. So as I keep those vows and honor it, God steps in. And whatever is going on a negative, he flipped the script, always on my behalf because I honor the vows that I make for him, that I made, towards him. As I take a step, God is behind the scenes taking 2 and 3 steps on my behalf. And, sometimes I get like, no, that can't be happening. And it is over and over again as I honor those vows, as I move forward, helping people, because it helps me as well, guys. And as we do that, you know, um, it helps us as well. That's all part of the healing process. When God is navigating your ship, how can you lose? If he's for you, how can you lose? He will always come through, especially when you call out to him and you're in the upright and you're making an effort, because nothing ventured is nothing gained. I'm talking from a place of personal experience over and over. Everything I talk about here are things that I've went through in the past. Um, One of the vows I will talk about here that I made to God is, I have notes here, so I cover everything. One of the vows I made to God is that I would, if he helps me when I was down, like to my lowest point, that I would remove toxic individuals from my life. That I would just remove these toxic individuals from my life, and that was a vow that I made. Um, Cut off, block, and delete, as I always say. And it wasn't easy. I was in the beginning really intimidated by some of the stuff that was going on as I tried to cut people off. Just the threats I had. An ex threatened me, if I can't have you, nobody else will, and all this stuff. And it just reminded me of a time when I was a teenager. I almost forgot we're on YouTube. I was just thinking about something, but it was one where I dated someone for 6 months and I said, there's something wrong with this person. He has some mental health issues. I can't deal with this. And it took me 2 years to get away from the situation because I had broken up after 6, 7 months. And, the constant stalking and things like that. And I remember it, even though it was years ago, a lot older now, but it's still how it made me feel. I still remember that. So when an ex said to me, if I can't have you, nobody else, I'm like, oh, I'm clearing this energy out. God, we need to deal with this right now because nobody's going to put a chokehold on me or my life because I don't want them anymore. And I'm closing the door because it's not for my highest good. It's toxic. They were not willing to change for the better. So I have to move on. It pained me too, but I have to do what I have to do so I can keep healing, growing. Um, so sometimes, that's what I was experiencing as I tried to close the doors to the toxicity. I went back and forth with these situations for a while because my therapist had to help me by, making me look at the picture, the situation. Like, okay, we know what you're bringing to the table, but what are they giving back to you in this situation, whether it's a friendship, a business setting, or a romantic relationship? And then that's why I was prompted to do that pro and con list. And as I did that, it helped me to see visually that I was overgiving. I was being used as a doormat, and what I was getting back was breadcrumbs. And, as we talked about that, me and my therapist, I start to see, but I still had a hard time trying to close those doors because of, I didn't know what would transpire as I tried to do those things. And so for a while, it went back and forth, in and out, round and about. And I guess that's why these toxic individuals, whether it was a business setting, personal relationship, family, friends, whatever, um, it just kept going back and forth. And so when I really decided that this is it, finally, no one believed me because it had went back and forth for far too long. So they're like, yeah, girl, please, whatever. And till they noticed that I wasn't coming back, that it was just done, because I started to heal and learn what was for my highest good and what was not. I learned to love me. I chose myself instead of the toxicity. And more importantly, guys, I made a vow to God that I would do this. So I don't play with God. I had to find a way to do this because I was scared at first, nervous because of things. I had one ex, very narcissistic, that was talking about burning my house down, cutting off my tires and doing this and that. And it was just, yeah, guys, it was a lot. And I just, the least I am today, I would just, I won't have words for that. Just walk away, leave them, and ask God to deal with that so I can stay focused on my healing and showing up on this channel. But I had to go through a lot to get these toxic individuals out of my life. And my therapist didn't understand until I started explaining to him, as I start to open up to him step by step as to what was happening. And he actually was like, wow, this is crazy. I said, yeah, and but I was able to move forward little by little. So don't give up just because someone is not in agreement with you choosing yourself, so that you can heal and grow and take care of your physical and mental health, because toxicity will, it would tear down your mental and physical health. Mentally, you're not, I know for me, when I was going to work and dealing with all that, I wasn't doing my job to the best ability that I could, because I'm worrying about some crazy ex or whatever. And it was like a lot. And also with all these things, with these deaths and things that happen at the time. So just one day at a time, ask God to help you, because I couldn't do this alone without God. Um, I guess this is why these toxic individuals did not believe me when I said to the last time to them that this is the last time, because it really was the last time. I had had enough. My weight was going up and down. My hair was falling out because I was so stressed out and crying all the time, not knowing when, an ex is going to try to come for me or whatever, all these things. And it just, I understood why I was doing these things, because I had that situation as a teenager, with somebody who just didn't want to let go. And now I just don't feel that. I just, it's just unbelievable to me. But thank God that has subsided and I don't have that issue. Because like I said to you guys in prior videos, the best medicine for this kind of stuff is total silence. And if someone does come towards me with some toxicity, prepare for a restraining order, get locked up, whatever's necessary, because I don't want anything that is not good for my highest good, and that's how it is. So I understand why they did not believe me, at first, because we went back and forth all the time. And then, one day it came to an end for permanently, have some notes here because I want to cover some things with, especially those who are listening who might be going through some things. I don't play with God. If I make a vow, I'm going to carry it out. I may think about certain things. And, like I said, the hardest part of these vows, because I made a few, is that the most difficult one was cutting off, blocking, deleting these folks, But I had to do it because it was for my highest good, so that I can move forward to stay on this path to heal, and so that I can eventually have inner peace. So when I make a vow to God, it has to be fulfilled. He is the reason why I'm still standing. I wouldn't be here with all this stuff that I went through. One person can't withstand all of that, but God helped me, as I came to him and asked him to help. So it just one day at a time, one step at a time. And, as I ask for God help and I keep moving forward, I notice that God has a way of playing chess while these haters are playing checkers. God has a way of saying checkmate. And I see it over and over again. And I start thanking him for that because I can't understand if someone doesn't want you in their life and they're telling you why, why, because you've been abusive to them and brought all types of negativity, and they no longer want that at their, they no longer want to deal with that. And a person has a right to close the door to that, and say enough is enough. They have a right to go over here and heal and take care of themselves. And when a person wants to threaten and say a bunch of things, I go into deep prayer with God and ask God, please deal with this over here because these people have some, serious mental health issues so that I can stay on my path and help myself and help others as I vowed to do. And when I pray like that and I talk to God like that and I go into details, God is in the background taking care of it because I see it over and over again. And I just keep moving forward. I have no animosity or bitterness. And that's another thing also that helps me because in the beginning, I was real mad. I was real like in a place of bitterness. I had a conversation with a friend who she went through something really difficult, and we were talking, without her going into specific details because I didn't need to know that. But the breakup made her bitter. It really made her bitter. And I told her that she can't stay in a place of bitterness. This is what I learned so far on this journey and all these situations, is that if we stay in a place of bitterness, then that person who hurt us and brought trauma and pain or whatever on a negative to our life, they get to keep our power. And when I say they keep the power over you, that means that you can't go over here and open up new doors because you focus on the bitterness that you have towards these individuals or whatever circumstance or situation that brought about this pain and anger within you. So it needs an outlet. Um, Therapy is what I suggest in the beginning, right? Because when you talk about it, it's an outlet for the pain. It doesn't stay stagnated and stuck within you. Music helps me a lot as well, besides therapy. Being out in nature, doing things that uplift your spirit, laughter, one day at a time, one step at a time. And I was sharing this with her because you can't grow, heal, and evolve if you're stuck in bitterness because of what somebody did to you, because there may be something good behind this door over here, but you can't even reach or go towards that door because you're stuck and stagnated in a bitterness and anger. And I had to learn that. And once I learned that, I gave it to God and I let it go. And I said, I forgive. The forgiveness is not for them, people. The forgiveness is for you so that you can move on and first take your power back, because that person keeps power over you when you stay bitter and angry, because there may be some new opportunities and doors over here that's specifically for you, but you can't open those doors. You can't cross through them, walk through them, because you're stuck here in a bitterness and anger. And so I had to let that go. I had to let the bitterness, anger, and all of that go. And you feel like you want to get revenge. All that stuff will keep you stuck, stagnated. And the person who did all this stuff to you gets to keep your power because you're not focused on anything else but what they did. And as I released, healed, and let go, I left it where it was. And it took a long time for me because a lot of stuff that was done to me that was so um, unjust and so wrong and hurtful. But then I said to myself, when I started to learn to look at things from a different perspective, is that these are lessons that were unlearned, because from one narcissistic individual to the next, and the lessons were getting more intense and more painful until I learned, hey, let me close this door, you know, and see the signs of toxicity. And I know them well because I went through it so many times, so it's okay to say no to something that's not for your highest good. And that's what I'm learning, to take care of myself, not to be a doormat to others, not to allow people to use me up and then spit me out and throw me to the side when they're done with me. It's okay to say no when something is not for your highest good, and I had to learn how to say no and put myself first. Once I did that, those lessons didn't come back around. They didn't. They tried to, but I saw it for what it was, and I didn't open the door to it. So then I get to padlock that door forever and move over here to good things. Because once you learn those lessons, guys, you can move forward and open up those new doors with better people, better opportunities and situations that can come into your life, things that are for your highest good, that's meant for you. But you can't collect on what's meant for you if you're stuck over here. And that's what I was sharing with a friend. You have to let it go. And she was having a hard time. Ask God, in prayer, to help you to let that go, because then you'll stay stuck in that situation and your life is passing you by, guys. So we are not to just exist and be here. We are to enjoy our life to the fullest. It doesn't matter who want to see us happy or not. That's why I cut off, block, and delete, because it may be a few people who are not healing on a journey to heal. They don't want to see you grow, heal, and evolve because they are in a place of bitterness and anger, whatever. But those are not your problems. As you grow, heal, and evolve, you want to open up new doors, better situations, better people, better circumstances. And you can have that one day at a time, one step at a time, one brick at a time. Remember, nothing ventured is nothing gained. And you're going to have days where you feel good and you want to do a whole lot. And then you're going to have those other days where you don't even feel like getting out of bed. But the key factor is persevere. Never give up on yourself or your mental or physical healing, because that's everything, guys. Without that, you can't take care of yourself, or anything else around you. It's important. And, the pain within, the first place I would suggest is therapy, a grief therapist, and go and talk. Find one that you vibe with, that you feel comfortable with. And then you can have a session. You can do a Zoom session or in person, whichever you prefer. You can do it weekly, bi-weekly. And that's an outlet for the pain. Other outlets is music, as I said, laughter. Just do things that brings joy to your spirit and soul. What I had to learn to do, and it took a long time, is to turn that pain into power, power into a purpose into paying it forward to help myself and help other people. And this is it right here. This is one of the vows I made. And as I fulfill these vows and move forward and continue to take care of myself and help others, God is blessing me for it, and I stay humble and show a lot of gratitude because of it. I'm very grateful for everything. And I'm very proud of myself for taking for having the courage and taking the steps to close those doors to those things that no longer serve me, because I would never be able to stay on this journey to heal, grow, and evolve. That's the message today, guys. I'm drinking some tea today. My throat is like bothering me a little bit. This weather today, I don't know. But I'm taking care of myself. Take care of yourself, one step at a time, one day at a time, guys. That's the message. Continue to show up here because, like I said, on a daily basis, You may hear something that might resonate with you and help you with your own circumstances. We're here to help so that we can continue to grow, heal, and evolve. That's the message today, guys. Go and enjoy your day. And I'll be back here tomorrow with a new message. I'm not sure of the time, so subscribe to the channel because you'll always get a notification as to when I'm here so that you can join me. Thank you all and have a great day. Bye for now, guys.